Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao coming to you live on several channels. Um, as usual, I was going to concentrate on our topic, energy and entrepreneurship. Um, Yesterday, we talked about 8 free things that we could do to enhance our immunity, our energy, and all that, right? And I promised you I was going to talk about some of the things I do. I call them like an inside job because they're all involving our interior. The inside jobs I do on a daily basis, I'm going to share with you in a list. And I did put in a link to the video I made out of this in the clubhouse. It is there on the other channels. So, like they've created a buy me a coffee account, and that's not asking for money but just promoting our wellness club. But you don't have to do anything, just watch the video if you could. Okay. So there are some things that I do as I wake up, as I go through the day, and as I end of the day. Most of them you don't have to take any medication or any therapy, any prescription, just something that you could do, you know. So that's something I'm going to share with you. Hopefully, they appeal to you, and then you will also try to implement some of them. Okay. Um, Quickly go through the list. The first thing is be aware when you wake up. Okay, that's something very, very important. Number two is uh, that awareness. You take a perfume through the day so that you are attend to everything, attention to every action. That's number two. Number three is as you get up early and then you go to take the shower, use that occasion to really scrub the skin. That is like a skin is the biggest organ we have, and it has connected with the immune system. So if you really vigorously rub, it's supposed to improve the immune system somewhat. So it's something simple, but you do that with awareness again. Okay, mindfulness. And then you do uh, some kind of exercise, especially yogasanas, but you do them with complete alignment with the mind, with the breath, and with also both sides of the body. So you got to have internally really aligned to have a good outcome. That's the fourth one. And the fifth one is deep breathing, not only in the morning, but also during the day, every 1 hour, 1 minute deep breathing, or as much as you can do. No, that's number five. And the sixth one is uh, suppose you kind of encounter a lot of situations. You don't want to be reactive to them. Rather, you are responding to them. Okay, that's another thing. Okay, and then uh, also taking this what I call present moment breathing breaks. Once in a while. That is the seventh one. And the eighth one is really reviewing all your reactions that you had during the day at the end of the day just before you go to sleep. Okay, these are the things that I was going to talk about. Each one is again expanded into a small movie. Each step is in detail. Okay, and they are all going to be published on the YouTube, and you can participate there, and then you can really uh, see them and get back to me, or send me the comments if you should care about that. Okay, so this is something very important uh, to understand, because all these things are really embedded into presence, embedded into complete awareness, mindfulness. When you are like that, you are going to really stop that chattering mind, which is really very healthy in the long run. Okay, so even to not to remember them, you need to practice them. You get to have that mindfulness or awareness. I call it, very very important. There is a longer term benefit for this, because when you place awareness ahead of the thinking patterns or habitual thinking patterns, that is a very healthy thing, because you are not creating more mental habits, but you are more like a you are really um, doing some things. Okay, so um, I hope this makes sense to you, and it is something that you may want to pay attention to, and then adopt them as you feel. Okay. So I saw one of my friends come and disappear. I don't know what happened to her. She comes up all the time, talks about things. She's a grandma that we talk about, right? Uh, so what are these things? Why they have become better attentive is, take our morning. What do we do in the morning time? We usually get up and immediately we want to go into some kind of hurry, right? Our system is hurried, fidgety, nervous, or really worried about what's going to come of the morning and afternoon and evening all together, and our entire plans for the week, for the quarter, for the half a year, for the 1 year, 10 years, all that comes, right? That's not being present. That's being really wound up in our own um, agendas, and then really meshed up in that, not really paying complete attention to what we're doing. So in the morning hour, right after you get up, your nervous system is more vulnerable. So what happens? Your system is really rattled up. If you allow yourself to be um, opening the devices, seeing who liked my comments, who not, what is the Google gossip out there, what you have to do. So you are kind of not given a chance to allow yourself to be completely here and now. Okay. And in the morning, that's very, very important. Okay. So first 1 hour, protect yourself. Don't open up the devices. Just take moment to pay attention to the things that you have, on the agenda or whatever. Hi, Rajesh, if you want to come up, please come up. So this is something that we were really neglecting in the long run too, right? So it's something that you want to be more aware of it. Hi, Rajesh, how are you? Okay. Good morning to you too. Yeah, I was doing this series on the energy for entrepreneurs, and today I was going to. Yesterday I shared 8 free things that we can do that will enhance our immunity and strength. Actually, that was a paper I found that was written allegedly several thousands of years ago in our ancient thing. So they were talking about a lot of commonsensical thing. I was amazed that they had this insight at that time. Anyway, today I was going to share what I personally do every day, and I kind of put in a small video there on that in the in here to in the what is this house in the house itself. I put it there, but maybe I'll pin it on the top too. That video. Okay, so this video is something that people want to see, and then there it is. Okay, I got to go and get it again probably. And I'll do that. Anyway, that's what I was talking about, Rajesh, because I enumerated all the eight of them. But first, I was talking about early morning hour. When you get up, are we rushing into devices or any of the planners, any of the things are allowing ourselves to be fidgety, anxious, nervous, and all that. So I sincerely advise people to first 1 hour take care of yourself, try to be in the present, do all the things that I'm proposing, at least giving them a shot once in a while, see how the energy makes a difference. For me, when I get up in the morning, I don't want to get into this thought mode, but I want to be in the present mode so that we are here and now and being aware and paying attention to what is going on around us and really be in the present, cultivate that, and then take it to the work like a perfume so that you are paying attention to every action. Whatever you do, if you are in the present, there's a much better. That's what I do. So in the morning, this being awareness really helps a lot. um, just to pay attention to the nature, what is happening out there without any comments, pay attention to the plants that we are growing, and then animals, pets, and live human beings, not a conversation, but just greeting maybe. And then you end up in the present moment for some time and stay there. That's a very, very important thing. And the second thing is, as you carry to the work, to whatever you do all day, just stay in the present by being attentive to every step of each action that you do. And that was some meditative awareness. But then if you start doing that even for a few minutes in the morning, few minutes in the evening, you feel like a refreshed. That's why you don't have the brain fog and all. And then when you take the shower, I was talking about scrubbing the skin really vigorously so that our immune bodies are stimulated. That's a very simple thing, but you got to do that with mindfulness and awareness. So, what do you think about this topic, Rajesh?
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Entrepreneurship is
Yeah, yeah, I kind of.
very, very good subject, actually, quite relevant.
Yeah, very relevant. And something that I do, it's not something I'm saying I've been doing this for years. So it has become a very good habit for me, which I kind of teach in my wellness club to the students. And they kind of report better reactions, better energy, and better sleep and all that, the consequences of that. So my aim of this series is help the newly forming entrepreneur or intrapreneur communities that are happening. So many women, so many youngsters also are getting into this artificial intelligence and then much more internet activity, much more other. So I want them to use it, but I don't want to get sucked in and then be energy depleted. That's why I thought I should talk about some of my ideas here, and I've been doing it for a while now. But now today is more like a personal inside jobs. Like all starts with your mind and being here and now. Okay, all of them, most of them. And then I was also talking about how can you need your body, know what tensions, what kind of things you have. If you just do a routine exercise, allowing the mind to go anywhere, somewhere you are thinking something, you are listening on the TV and you're doing it, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really needing the body with a few exercises that you can do, but being aware, being breathing well, that kind of inside job while exercising is very, very important. Again, mindfulness, again, being here and now. And then along with that, the deep breathing is another thing I always talk about. Deep breathing is something people are not used to, but you got to make a habit of getting into deep breathing at least 2 or 3 times a day. I do it in the morning with a yoga class, like a half an hour or so, and then once in a while in the meetings and everywhere. Just Bastrika, simple breathing in and out. And then I was going to talk about how you become more responding to things than reactive because you have practiced this deep breathing, And then uh, I always tell the people who come to me for burnout, like I take a 1 minute every hour with a what I call PMBB, present moment breathing break. So if you can take that deliberately, more like a something like a prescription that I gave, which is not taking any medications, but just being aware of how our breathing is, how shallow it is, how deep it is. If you once get used to that, then you feel your mind is clear at every hour. Then at the end of the day, you may not have the brain fog, which is the case with me. I participate in so many interviews, discussions, and all that, right? But I don't have brain fog. I just clear off everything and then sleep. But that takes a requirement, some practice and all that. Okay, and then finally, I was going to talk about uh, before you fall asleep, just review all your emotional reactions, whatever that happened, allow them to come up and then discard them or write them down on paper and then go to sleep on a positive. So those are the 8 steps I was talking about, and people can watch that in that video also that I posted, and then that way they'll be able to see that. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering while listening to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was listening to you, and then something came, some thought came in my mind.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So I had once gone for your question,
Hmm.
and I realized that after undergoing the course, I mean, it was a 10-day course being run by Goenkaji. I think that he was alive at that time.
Yeah.
And they would have it here in Mumbai, at Igatpuri.
Yeah.
So, so those 10 days were very interesting because I realized that you are mostly meditating while doing Vipassana. You're all not indulging in any other activity.
Yeah.
And then I realized that my requirement of sleep, I mean, sleep became a major problem. I mean,
Yeah.
I could not sleep more than 2 3 hours because my body and mind they were so rested.
Hmm.
So it was a major adjustment issue later on in life.
Hmm.
Likewise, I realized that sometimes, habitually, we eat quite a bit.
Yeah.
We don't need to eat so much, and I realized that when my mother had Alzheimer's, and we try to, I tried to feed her, and she would not eat, have food. Then I realized that she's also not doing much. She's inactive, and probably, the amount of food she eats isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And I would wonder that she's not eating because of her Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
Then later I realized that no, it was a mistake. It is a mistake. Whatever she wants to eat, that is what she should be eating. We should not be forcing her to eat more
Yeah.
because we think because of her Alzheimer's, she's forgetting to eat.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting experience I had. So when we talk about regular routine, realize that routine itself sometimes could be, I mean, it has become a kind of a designer routine since childhood.
Hmm.
We follow certain pattern in our day-to-day existence.
Yeah.
Without realizing that we don't need to follow that pattern. I mean, like, this pattern of eating at
Hmm.
morning tea, breakfast, then
That's kind of conditioning, Rajesh. That patterns,
yes,
yeah, by the family culture, we don't realize, but then we develop that conditioning, and then you got to, by being aware of it, you don't have to blame yourself or anything, but just by being aware of it and having more knowledge about this, you can change that. For example, if you are eating very late, which happens in the Indian parties and all that, I know by midnight we eat and all that, right? That's pretty bad for our diurnal system. So You got to eat at least 2 hours before you go to sleep, maybe 8 o'clock if you are going to sleep by 10. So many subtle things are there, but just by being aware, what are our habits, what are things that we have cultivated, and that also goes down. Hi, Sanya, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Ram.
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
Mhm. I was talking about this daily jobs that is not daily things a little bit with related to awareness, so that people can see some of the things that I have benefits, like I am focused when I'm working something, and I don't have the brain fog, and I sleep very well. This all stems from working on the information overload, working on so many people who are really burnt out and stressed because of the modern conditions. Some of the good things, I think we kind of use them without knowing what's going to happen. So I was talking about being aware first thing after you get up, and then carry that through the day. And when you take the shower, rub your skin pretty well, and then do the yogasanas and breathing, which I do all the time. And then be more responding, not reactive. Take the present moment breathing break, and also really before you sleep, just have go to the reactions class. You know them already because you are a student of mine in the wellness club. But I put the video up there too. You take a look at that, and then if you have any comments, you make it now.
Yeah, Dr. Ram, I think we need to go into the brain fog stuff a little more. Like, what is it, and you know,
Yeah.
how, like, is it like everyone catching it, or gets it, or that kind of thing, and how do you come out of it?
Yeah, it's a question of how you think about things that are not related to the job, and you kind of allow, you think you are multitasking, and you kind of multi-level thinking, right? What is the culprit? their brain. Okay, so that was explanation given to that by the neurologist. I think that's something you got to pay attention to. Are you deliberately trying to handle different tasks, or you can break them down into sequential tasks that you can pay attention to? Try that. If you try that, then you will be able to at least restrict some of the thought. And as you develop this, and I'm kind of go advanced on the meditation, so I kind of stay in that meditative awareness all the time. That's why it's much easier for me to do. But for somebody who is not used to it, simple thing is just pay attention to what you're doing, and then after you're done, dump it. So don't take the work home, but nowadays, because of the 24-hour access to the internet, and all the IT people have to take jobs whenever they can. That kind of 9 to 5 thing that we used to see is gone. For us doctors, it was never there anyway. But later on, they brought this hospital system that has given us some semblance of balance. But generally, people are really multitasking, thinking that's more productive. In reality, it is not. It acts on your brain. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, so it's to do with a lot of multitasking that can paralyze you. Is that how you?
Yeah. No, it's kind of, you are going to do one task, and you leave it behind, and then you go to the next one. The next one, you're never completing and putting it away. So the more you can do that, the more you can pay attention fully, and then complete it, and then put it out of your mind, the better it is for you. But if you cannot do it while you are doing on the job, at least cultivate some time just after you get up in the morning for 15 minutes, calm your mind down. And also in the evening before you go to bed, before you go to sleep, do that. These 2 periods are vulnerable. If you can do the night time where you can empty your mind and then sleep on positive thoughts or no thoughts, that's much better. And in the morning, again, when you get up, don't get into things right away. First, settle yourself down, take a moment to be in the present, and then do it. That's my style. Okay, through the day, so that helps a lot for me. Yeah. So that's an important thing, phenomena that's happening, because these technological um, discoveries are there, but then there's so much of commercialization of these technologies that is impinging on from a very early childhood. So kids are getting into these things in a remarkable way. They are producing a lot of stuff, but then what their brain activity is going to be down the line, we have to wait and see. I know one kid who is very brilliant in this artificial intelligence, and I talked to him. I told him, give a rest to the mind. He told me, I can't stop thinking even for a moment. If he's at this age like that, like a 13-year-old or something, imagine what kind of conditioning he will train himself into be down the line. Okay, so this is actually a concern for the society. We want attention to be expanded, but what's happening is people are getting attention deficit. It used to be 12 seconds or so. Now it is at 9 seconds for humans, I believe. It is less than a goldfish, I believe. So that's a serious thing. People are not paying attention to. But when you are really calm and quiet, and your superficial mind, the layers of the thoughts are subsided, you can discover that peaceful, very tranquil, harmonizing energy that is behind this wavy mind, chattering mind. So this is why this is very important. You can do the work better if you have better attention span. At least for me, that's the case. I can focus. I can do a lot of things by breaking it into small things, and then paying attention. This is, by the way, in a way, karma yoga too. What it is you don't have to pay attention to the results, but you pay attention to the process. And also, you don't want to claim that I am the one doing, but you act as I am the instrument that is being used by the divine to do the work. That kind of thing also helps a lot. Otherwise, this personal passion, ambition, which is highlighted in the Western society, is really causing a lot of anxiety, depression, and so many problems. Today, I saw a report. I think who was that, CDC? I think they put it out about the suicidal rate among the teenagers, and which has really crept up. It really went up very low. So we are very concerned about it. But we know the reason why the suicide rates are going, because the negative thinking, and thinking itself is not understood, and it is allowed to run rampant, and then people cannot really help themselves, but get trapped in the network of thought. Okay. Anyway, see that video, and I'm going to talk about it a couple of days later also, so that people have a chance to see it and then give me feedback what they think about them. It is working for me, but some things have to be modified for according to the people's conditioning, their own inclinations, and what they thought was good is a kind of I'm trying to say I do a lot more stuff than these people who are doing multitasking, because whatever I pay attention to, unless the quality of attention is not there, I don't really do it, especially the important things, kind of having some kind of mental discipline. You don't have to go and learn it outside in the yoga centers and all that. That's all okay. But how you implement what they taught you on a daily basis is important thing. I think most of the people, they go there, they don't absorb, and then they go back sleep, and then immediately their own conditioning comes up, and that's why they say, "Oh, that's all nice, very nice," but they don't do that on a daily basis. That's the hard part about it.
Yeah, I just realized how important it is at the end, not only at the end of the day, but as you like you said, as you move into
Yeah,
different situations and stuff like that, then you clear the other part, so it's gone,
yeah,
and you can be more focused.
yeah.
And I find that I do more of the end of the day stuff because sometimes you run over stuff, right?
Mm.
And so, and of course, I had you like last time you talked about hourly reminder option.
Yeah.
And and setting the time or the alarm or the prompt to come up on your iPhone and stuff like that. I thought that was a really great idea, and I thought I don't need it.
Mm.
I thought I didn't need it.
You get lost. You get lost, so you
Yeah.
get to need it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate that prompt
Yeah.
sometimes because when it comes up, then that you have to tune in. And every time now there's a lot of noise in my my thoughts and stuff like that. Then
Yeah.
that deep breath and even recalling some of that. And I also some in the morning I listen to the chants a little more because
Yeah.
The vibration somehow helps
Definitely.
me. Also. Yeah.
Definitely. You remember I chanted Gayatri Mantra with you one time, and that is something you do silently, like at least 16 or 32 times. That's a very powerful, rhythms they produce in you. That's very, very good. So there are so many processes people have practiced over the years, but they have real benefit if they do in the modern age, because modern age is trying to take us away from our attention span, and these processes bring your attention span expand. Okay. Let's talk to Christopher. Hi, Christopher. How are you?
Hi, sir. My name is Christopher. I'm Northern California, where I'm located.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the conversation, and I completely agree with you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Basically everything you said, and also with Sonia,
Yeah.
too, as well. I found that book marking my day
Yeah.
Like I start with my gratitude journal,
Yeah.
and then I do focus on my breath.
Mm.
That's one thing I can control.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's going on with my day,
Yeah.
I can control my breath.
Yeah.
And I'll start with that. And then I have some grounding techniques that I do
Yeah.
that I enjoy.
Mm.
And then I focus on my intentions. And then
Yeah.
I have what I want to manifest for the day.
Right.
And also, this is a really weird practice that I do, but it's kind of silly, kind of weird, but it helps me. Simple, focus, mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I have to brush my teeth every single morning. I do brush my teeth. It's just something I do, and it's a time. But I found before I was thinking about the rest of my day.
Mm.
I was like, and then I need to do this, and I need to do that. But instead, I decided to, it's not that it makes brush my teeth more enjoyable.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's silly.
No, it's not silly. It's the mindfulness we're talking about that you are bringing it to that too. That's the point. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just very, and then like it's like a boat park,
Mm.
and then at the end of the day,
Mm.
and like mindfully eating too
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Makes
See, I
sense.
talked about every activity. Pay attention to every activity. It could be brushing the teeth, having a conversation, eating our lunch or dinner, or walking or taking stays. Whenever the opportunity has come for you, you can come to the present, and that way you can break the habits that you have formed about unconditional thinking, say unconscious thinking or compulsive thinking. See, people think, oh, I can brush my teeth at the same time I can think about something. Say, kind of allow the vagabonding of the thought. That is the habit that you want to break by being aware all the time. That is difficult in the beginning, but at least you can start early hours just after you get up, and also before you go to sleep, and in between whenever you have a chance. I taught my son, whenever he sees a red light, he is driving, and I've told him to stop and take deep breaths. And the process of just paying attention to the deep breath itself cuts down that rapidity of thought, which you don't need to think about. There may be sometimes you have to, but it has to be under your control. That's the point. When you can bring this present moment awareness in front of your thought process, then that won't be a problem. Actually, it becomes very, very good because you are focused and you are not really reacting from your reptile brain, so your stress hormones are not there. So there's so much real biological chemical reactions that go on when you emotionally react for something based on what you perceived, what your conditioning and all that. But if you say, okay, not going to react, but I'm going to respond to the tasks of my responsibilities, then you can do it with much better focus. So the whole thing has come up because there is so much information coming at us through so many devices all the time. And then we think, oh, we need so much information to feel better and all that, but not really that helps us our health in the long run. Take the relevant information. And one good thing about this artificial intelligence is it is a cognitive enhancer. So I kind of try to delegate all the mundane, redundant tasks to that, so that I don't have to waste my energy. Actually, I got more time for my spiritual practices after I began to use artificial intelligence. That way, it can help us. But then, if you don't take care of your mind, your inner self, then you're going to in the wrong way, because some people are so enamored by all the new things that are coming up. They're getting more information over. So I'm kind of went back and said, no, let's pull back. What is the important thing that I have to do? What is that I will, like, for example, I made this video. This is now I'm making these videos very quickly. Before I had to land it, right? But it took a few weeks. But after that, I'm producing these videos very, very quickly. And that is because not just the chat GPT, but I have to go through them. I have to edit them. That I do. After that, the actual scene selection, editing, noise, music or voiceover, everything is done by the programs much quicker. So that way, I say, okay, I'm going to talk about this with my friends, and now I began to post these videos also now. So that all helps for me to reach them with what I want to say. Not necessarily they have to agree with me, but what is that I am doing that is presented. And then if they have questions, they can discuss with me. Like Sanya asked me the question of brain fog, like that. Yeah, Christopher, you're doing a lot of things that are pretty, pretty what I'm talking about. But only one thing is cultivate that awareness to come forward, and then it won't be mechanical, or it won't be something repetitive or compulsive thinking. You say once you understand the difference between that, then you are well off, I think.
Compulsive thinking.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Because I've been very much paying attention to my thoughts.
Yeah.
And how those thoughts, and setting healthy boundaries too. But my thoughts and my attachment to those thoughts.
Yeah.
And being aware of those type of things.
Yeah.
Currently.
See, what I mean by not be compulsive thought is when you are consciously thinking and make it a habit, that means you are making the thoughts as objective to you. When you see them as objectives coming up, you can watch them and you don't have to react to them right away. That's the key. So deeper meditations are when you become that witness consciousness. You are witnessing the thoughts, not carried by the thoughts and by the conclusions, by judgments and all that. Then it becomes a real forte because you have this capacity to really keep the thoughts kind of not really overriding you, but they are you are actually consciously thinking. That's a big deal, conscious thought.
Yeah, witnessing the thought without judgment.
Yeah.
Without attachment. Without
take some time.
Identifying with it.
Yeah.
Is what I understand, Doctor, is what you're referring to as conscious thought.
Yeah, conscious thought. Once you settle down in that witness, that is seeing the thoughts, then that's actually deeper meditative practice called manonasha. But then to understand that, it takes a lot more time before you really get into that. Okay, but once you are there, your thought is tranquil, your thought is harmonizing, and by that restlessness is gone and dullness is all gone, because you're not like a sleepy or dull and all that, but you are alert, aware, but really not having this movement of thought. That is the aim of a lot of meditation systems. But then what is happening now is the life has become so fast, the information flow is so fast, the conditioning people also so much. It's all thought world. It's not like a thought being used. It's all thought world. People live in the past, people live in the future, but they never live in the present. That's what I'm talking about. So somebody asked me today, one of my friends, what is your time management technique? I said, my only technique is being in the present. And that's really the truth, just being in the present. For to come to that, you got to understand the thought process, how it comes up, how it goes into subconscious, how it becomes again thoughts and all those things. Then once you understand that, then once you understand being mindful or awareful right in the moment, that is the key. Once you practice that, being in the present, then you can use thought consciously when you need. I need to use that, right? As a physician, as a teacher of so many things, I need to use the thought. Even now, I'm using my thought to communicate with you, but at the same time, I'm not having multiple thought streams going through my head. That is the blessing. That's really blissful in the sense. Nazli, any questions you have? Usually you have a question.
Just a quick follow-up
Yeah,
before we move on.
yeah.
But understanding the ego too.
Ah, yeah,
The ego, the ego just wants to survive.
yeah,
But again, attachment to the ego can be
yeah.
very problematic. But
Yeah, that's a big deal, right? Ego is like a uh, shadow of a real self. When you are in that witness consciousness, you may have the egoic identification before, but now that becomes much weaker, right? So you can use the ego as a slave, but not as a master. Understanding the ego is you cannot really remove ego in the sense, but you can transcend that. Say, for example, you are paying attention to the something you are doing now. This is where I said it is karma yoga too. Whatever you do it in a yogic sense, like I am like a mediator being used by the whatever powers that are, or divinity, whatever you call it. Then you are doing it for that sake. And then you also only focus on how I do it. You don't focus on the result that you want. That's where the Western civilization looked for the fruits of the work and also ego development. And that is turning havoc in personal lives and also institutions. But if you really identify that we are all one, and then we are trying to serve the divine in other people, then it becomes like a service, like a worship. And that's basically what the karma yoga entails. No agency, and no really looking for the fruits. Whatever that comes, you take it with equanimity. Yeah.
beautifully eloquent. That's illustrated. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I meant to say. Beautifully illustrated. Yeah, because it is. Um, and then the other thing is witnessing the vibration, right? The
Yeah.
vibration of reflection.
Very much.
Yeah.
That's why I said early morning hour, late sleeping, the vibrations are very powerful. We are vulnerable with our nervous system at the time, right? So when you transition from sleepiness to wakefulness, and then from wakefulness to sleep, those are the periods you want to careful about what you think, what you allow to remain. So one simple thing I tell people that come to me in the evening, just for a few minutes, just to replay the whole day. What happened? Did I lose my cool? Did somebody yell at me, or did somebody? All those things, whatever experience you have, was positive and negative. In the beginning, try to dump the negative as though let it go, and then this all happened. It's not here now, and then you feel insulted, you feel put down. Then you say, "Who is this that is feeling like?" That is the ego. Then you say, "It's okay. You don't have to beat up like that." Then that's one thing. Other thing is you kind of allow all the trivialities to really wash away from the system. That becomes a habit as you do it every day. And if you have a bigger thing that is important in your life, that is really important for you, then what you do is you write it down and forget for the night. Like you said, journal maintaining, write down only what is important for you, but still you don't want to keep it in your mind. That's one thing. People sleep on these things, lingering, but there is a way to sleep on the being rather than on the thoughts. So for me, no positive, no negative, just sleep on the being. And that's very, very nurturing energy, right? That means you are sleeping not on thoughts, but on the silent mind. Once you do that, the sleep is very, very energizing, restores your body and mind. So before you sleep, review reactions, and if it's a trivial, dump them. Don't carry them at all. Forget it completely. If they're important, put it on a paper or device and then sleep on empty as much as possible. For the period of several months and weeks, you will gain that strength and you feel very good when you sleep.
That's what I was saying, Doctor, about my gratitude bookmark.
Mm.
I do my gratitude journal in the morning.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then at the very end, just like a reflection of gratitude.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. You know, gratitude has another positive thing because it touches your abundance. You're basically saying, I'm appreciating what I have. And so you're focusing on the abundance that you already have. So this is actually a clue for being contented and really feeling happy, satisfied is the real happiness actually. And then when you go out, you're not looking for something to give you that. See, you already have that, you know. This in the longer run, you'll find I have so many riches inside me. Like you have feel kindness, you feel friendliness, you feel happy for somebody else's success, you know, and you don't, cultivate enmity, ill will, and all those things. They're all positive abundances that we have, right? As human beings, we can do that. Once we are in that abundant self, then you don't have to pursue money, other things. You know, that's the thing that you want to get to.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, sure, Krista. Nice meeting you. You are here for the first time, I think, right? So,
very nice. Nice to meet you too as well, sir.
Rajesh, any comments? Anything?
Yes, Dr. Ram.
Any comments? Anything?
No comments. I understood this one.
Yeah.
And giving company.
Good, good.
No, Dr. Rao, I'm really beginning to really appreciate the witnessing part.
Yeah.
And because I had like the last few days, those episodes where I overthink. And then I had to slow myself down.
Yeah.
And when I thought about, I think your voice came into my head.
That's not good. That's not good.
In terms of like pausing and just be aware of the breath and that kind of thing. So it was kind of nice to be able to tone down. Yeah. And I'm surprised that I'm not like boiling at the back of my mind still, right?
Yeah.
Once that happens, and it's just like it's kind of nice because I didn't have to like.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you think about something, it overthinks and it's going round and round, right?
Yeah, now you are responding. You're not reacting like with anger and all that before. That's good, Sanya. Very good.
Yeah, so it's really nice. Thank you for that.
Good. Yeah, I shouldn't be coming into your head. You should what you should do is what is it that I'm focusing on? Okay, that should be the focus.
When by that I mean like okay, the breathing part. Like, just witness. So that kind of voice, right?
Yeah.
Not like
That's like a remembering a fact. That's okay. But what I'm saying is, the trick is there. Am I completely immersed in what I'm doing? That's why this thing I kind of made it a plaque and put it in the office for the assistants and everybody that do. They didn't understand in the beginning, but then after they saw me in very, very critical situations, how I'm not reacting, but I was able to respond adequately because of the coolness, right? Then they understood what I mean by it. What I said was, pay attention to every action all the time. And then all you have to do is attend, be there completely. J. Krishnamurti really defined this very well. Attention versus concentration. Concentration, where you want to focus on one point at a time, right? In attention, you are aware of the whole room, and then you are completely attentive to that. in the movement. So, for example, he was sitting with some group and they were all discussing something intellectual, and they were in that intellectual world. And suddenly Krishnamurti, he was not participating, he was just sitting there. And then he kind of really got straightened up in the chair or something. Then they thought something amazing is going to come out of his mouth, which usually does. Then he said, mangoes, fresh mangoes. The mangoes are coming down the corridor. Somebody is carrying them, and he was able to smell it. So he's not lost in that intellectual world. He is in the present. He is completely attentive to what's going on around him and all. That is the um attention span that you'll have. So then you will be able to focus on what you want to do much better too.
Yeah, like I have read about the people who can, like I think I mentioned to you too, right?
Yeah.
Can do several things at the same time. Right?
Yeah. But at the same time, what they are doing is they are doing one thing at a time. That's the fundamental thing. It seems like I'm doing so many stuff, so much of stuff I accomplish, right? But at every moment of whatever I'm doing, my focus is completely on that. That's the difference. Actually, I do much faster with quality when I adopt this style.
I wanted to ask, I know this is not on the topic of, but it is, I think, in part, like some people, meditation is an addiction for them. So can you comment on that?
Is it for you?
No, not me, but I have, I was discussing with my sister, right? And
Yeah.
some
No, it depends upon what they understand what is meditation. Okay. If you are really understood what is meditation, then you don't have to make an effort to do that. Okay. So if they're making an effort and do that, they're probably in the beginning stages of concentrating their thoughts, getting them all together. Because usually in life, what happens is people involve in thinking a lot and allowing the thoughts to go into them, and then they become compulsively coming and all that. Okay. So they don't know how to slow them, how to clean them, and how to really make it like a consciously used. Okay? If you don't have it, addiction is what? You are repeating something without you having any control over it. The urge comes and then do it. So they are thinking all over, they're discussing, they're intellectualizing, they're doing so much stuff, right? So all the sciences, they focus outward, and but the meditation science is inward science. So you can't approach it with intellect, the inward science at all. So if you are intellectual, then you are happy in your thought world. So addiction is nothing but compulsory something is driving you to do something. But in meditative, the moment you kind of slow the thought and then be away from the thought in the awareness, you don't have to meditate. Meditation is you call it meditation now because so many thoughts are happening, you want to calm it down. But then your real nature is peaceful, tranquil self. That is the inner self, right? And that is, if you stay there, that is very tranquil and peaceful naturally. Thought happens out of it. But if you allow thought to be identified as that is the ego also, right? And then you will be directing everything towards what you identified, which is a false one. So that's the difference between Mano Nasha and Mano Laya.
I think too, meditation can take a lot of different forms.
Yeah.
Walking meditation is sometimes. So I don't have an attachment to, I need to sit for X amount of time. I need to have this vibration. I need to, all those things are a project to my mind.
Yeah.
But what I do is that I make an intentional act to, like, my intention is to meditate. I need to walk to the bus. All right. So I'm going to do a walking meditation.
Yeah.
Left goes left, right goes left.
Now, you can be meditative any activity, provided ask the question, who is that wants to meditate? That's the one you want to quench it. Then you're already in a tranquil, peaceful state. Usually people get lost in the what I call network of thought. One thought leading to other thought, and all. So more rapid you do it, the more frenetic and nervous it becomes. That's when they say, "Okay, I want to calm myself down. I want to get my." That's okay. But what I'm describing is like kind of a ultimatum. I don't have to be like that all the time. You just see where we are and then start from there. Not all the life situations are going to be the same, but there is a term in Sanskrit that is described. It's called sthita prajna. That means the one who is stabilized in the wisdom. Okay, those people who are stabilized in that wisdom, they don't have any reaction to happy things or sad things. That's something very, very different. But what I'm talking about is, in general, if you really understand the mechanism of thought and use it efficiently, then you can perform very well in life, and at the same time go to this tranquility that you found very easily. And then at least in the morning, in the evening, if you can do that, that itself is very, 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 very nurturing and nourishing. So, and then whenever you are walking, just do step by step, be aware of it. That becomes the meditation. Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to fit every single time.
Yeah.
In my practice, left goes left, right goes left.
Yeah.
And then I get thoughts, and I'm like thinking.
Mm.
And then I'm like, I'm turning right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like left goes left, right goes left. It sounds silly. Like some of these things sound silly, but I tell you, and you do that with the breath.
Yeah.
It's helped me a lot.
Yeah, wonderful. Actually, that is the key, because breath and the mind activity, they're all tied together. The deeper you breathe, the slower that mind activity becomes. And if you allow the mind activity to run fast, then the breath will be very shallow and fast. That's what happens with a lot of anxious people when they come. So that's why we tell them, first take a deep breath, slow down. Even the people who are public speaking and they're very nervous about it, I make them do what's called Korsakoff breathing, which is a very, very good technique to allow all the stress hormones that are secreted by your own anxiety, fear, and all that. So at that time, if you can imagine something funny, something silly, all the thoughts break down too. But the deep breathing is the key for a lot of people to get back to normal, to stabilize their thinking, and not allowing the thoughts weave on each other like a network. That's what I'm talking about. Christopher, it's very nice meeting you. You are doing a lot of stuff.
Very nice meeting you. I'm just curious if someone had some thoughts about any of that. No, she must be away from him.
No, thoughts on being meditated.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about, it's like, well, I don't have time. It sounded like to me, okay. It sounded like to me, it's like, you don't have time to meditate. We were just talking about different forms of meditation, and doctor was saying what it does in the body and that kind of stuff. And I'm just curious if you have any thoughts.
Sanya is working with me, Christopher. She comes to my wellness club,
Okay.
She has just been at 1 year. Actually, she is relating her experience, what she was doing. She improved a lot from the time I saw her. So.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Ram. And it's just the application, right? The experience that we talk about, right? Yeah. And I put it into practice, right? Because you want to be well, right?
Exactly.
And so you have to do it. Right?
Yeah, just learning a wise principle is not enough. You got to allow it to happen in your lives. Then only it becomes really wisdom in our life. You know, even old traditions or scriptures, whatever we read, that's not important. What's important is that a fact in my life? That's kind of thing.
Yeah, integrating into your life.
Yeah, yeah, integrate. Exactly. 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 Actually, there are associations for this to happen, Christopher. They're called satsangs. What does it mean is people of good nature uh, gathering together to explore the truth, not to argue, just to have a dialogue where they can explore the truth together, in a sense of camaraderie, in a sense of equality and all that, right? That was a big tradition in ancient India and later on with the Socrates too. You see, that was there. And then it's a kind of happened with a lot of people. And now people, big egos, they want to fight each other on something. And that doesn't produce this atmosphere where you are friendly exchanging some truths and then allowing them to our lives and all that. So I don't need to do it for personally for my sake. When I come and share, actually, I will be on my own bandwagon. I don't really care how many people are coming and all that. I come here and then I just share, and few people come. But later on, other people listen to this recording. That's why I know people are watching this, and then I get the message. If people are here discussing, that's better, I think. I think I asked Patrick to come. I think he came under. Yeah.
And that's authentic. Being authentic.
Yeah, you got to do it. It has to be in your life. Otherwise, it's not valid. That's why this talk is my daily things I do every day that I shared in this. Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful for you sharing your time.
Yeah.
Too as well. I wanted to.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's my pleasure, Christopher. Patrick, how are you? Hello? Patrick, can you hear me? Maybe I'm not audible to him. I don't know. Patrick, are you there? Or...
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, how are you guys doing?
Well, okay. We're about to close the room. It's beyond 7.
Yeah, I understand that. I have a little information to pass to you guys. So, will you be interested to hear my information?
What kind of information?
It's about a trading app. It's called Bitcoin.
No, I'm not interested in that.
Have you heard about that before?
Okay. All right, Sanya and Christopher, I think we are beyond that 1 hour anyway. We'll close the room and then we'll see you back again tomorrow. Okay?
All right, we'll see you. Have
Okay.
a good day, night, wherever you're.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Namyo Rengekyo.
Bye-bye. Okay.